So, a very warm good morning to everyone from Team Carnage. I'm Paulo Lama, the leader of the team, and Esa Prajapati and Resa Shrestha are other team members. We are here to give you a quick presentation on reflection on performance and evaluating a project. As you might find these two topics similar, so we are also going to clarify the differences between them. Here are the table of contents. So let's start. Firstly, let's talk about reflection. Next slide. Next slide, Resa. Yes. Okay. So firstly, let's talk about reflection. What is it and why is it useful? Reflection is a process of exploring and examining ourselves, our perspectives, attributes, experiences, and actions or interactions. It involves looking back on what was done, how things happened, and what can be done to improve future outcome. It helps us gain insight and see how to move forward. Its power lies in being able to help you develop your understanding of the way you learn, the subjects you are studying, and to define your longer term goals. It can help to promote critical thinking and problem solving skills, both of which are key to academic success. But it has further uses that relate to life skills. It is an essential part of personal development and prepares you for the world of work, encouraging you to develop the habit of analyzing your actions or events and considering the consequences. Reflection is often done as a writing because this allows us to explore our reflection and develop them more thoughtfully. However, it can also take the form of conversation with a critical friend, tutor, or mentor. Now let's talk about types of reflections. Next slide. So basically, there are two types of reflection: reflection in action and reflection on action. Reflection in action. This is the reflection that takes place in the moment while you are still involved in the situation. Reflection in action involves using analysis of observation, listening and touch or feel to solve the problem. It is like thinking on your feet. It involves consider the situation, decide how to act and act immediately. For example, most of you guys here feel distracted in this lecture by thinking about what to have in your lunch. But you also want to get most of the lectures, so you need to find a way to help you focus. For that, you start making some notes of the key points. In this way, you reflect in your action. You immediately find a way to keep you focused while you are still in the lecture. Whereas reflection on action, on the other hand, takes place after the action has happened. It involves reconsider the situation and think about what need to change in the future. For example, you gave a very bad presentation on round one. You think about the presentation and noted what went bad and what went good. You also find out what changes you will made and implemented them on your second round of presentation. This is reflection on action. Now let's talk about reflection on learning. Next slide. Reflection on learning is about students becoming aware of their own thinking process and being able to make those transparent to others. It enables assessment of the why and how of the learning and what needs to be done as a result. Reflective learners assimilate new learning, relate it to what they already know, adapt it for their own purposes, and translate the thought into action. Over time, they develop their creativity, their ability to think critically about information and ideas, and their metacognitive ability. That is their ability to think about their own thinking. Another topic is reflection on practice. So, a reflection on practice is defined as exercising self-awareness and observations after an experience. Reflection on practice helps the practitioner in skills of self-awareness, assertiveness, confidence, and personal or professional development. In other meaning, reflective practice is thinking about or reflecting on what you do. It is closely linked to the concept of learning from experience, in what you think about what you did and what happened and decide from that what you will do differently next time. Now I'd like to call Issa to talk about evaluating the project.
Project evaluation planning. Evaluating a project means performing a rigorous analysis of completed goals, objectives, and activities in order to determine whether the project has produced planned results, delivered expected benefits, and made desired change. As a process, project evaluation takes a series of steps to identify and measure the outcomes and impacts resulted from project completion. Next slide. Now let's find out how to evaluate projects, what indicators to consider, and how to design a project evaluation plan. Let's discuss about the indicators. The project evaluation process involves an analysis of different components or indicators that characterize the project's progress towards the achievement of its goals and objectives. These components or indicators are outcomes and impacts. Now let's discuss about the outcomes. In terms of project evaluation and management, outcomes defines the measurable results and benefits that are observable within the targeted environment once the project is done. Outcomes describe short-term and modern-term effects generated by the project. For example, improve knowledge, new skills, and increase understanding of business environment. And next one is impacts. Impacts determines and measure the extent to which goals and objectives of the project are achieved. For example, increase quality of a project and enhance productivity of personnel. Next slide. Now let's quickly discuss about the evaluation plan. Exploration and analyzing of the relationships between project outcomes, impacts, goals, objectives, and activities can be managed under a project evaluation plan. Such a plan provides a set of tools to measure progress in implementing the project and its key components such as goals, objectives, and activities. In designing a project evaluation plan, there are some general guidelines for project evaluation. Step one is identify outcome and impact. As we have already explained, through measuring outcome, we can understand the extent of goal achievement, whereas through evaluating project impacts, we can identify a project overall effect on the environment and its targeted to. And the second step is choose evaluation method. Choosing evaluation method will focus on results and benefits as well as impacts. And the third step is report on the evaluation. Report includes our conclusion about the project's ability to produce desired change and uh, accomplishing preset goals and objectives. Now the further topics will be discussed by Resa.
Thank you, Isa. Difference between reflection and evaluation. Reflection is a process on your experience in order to learn from that experience. An evaluation is the process of making an assessment or judgment about an experience or a person. Reflection is to increase the quality, and evaluation is to judge the quality. Reflection A reflection gives a reader a good understanding of how you feel or what you think about the subject. Evaluation can inform a large audience about success so we can use them to analyze our project or program. Reflection Reflection Reflecting on performance, consider the research, information gathering, and data collection. Data collection that provide feedback. We use reflection to identify what people know and are able to do. This usually come as part of a project. Reflection really look at research, learning, and gathering information by which they can make improvement to get better results. And evaluating a project consider the quality of research, argument, and use of evidence. This describes the different study type possible, explaining the advantage and disadvantage of each type. It outlines the type of performance indicator that can be used to measure the success of program. Evaluation is not only will not only provide feedback on the effectiveness of program but will also help to determine any problem with its implementation. Reflection A reflection allowed to analyze our experience which make change based on our mistake and should keep on doing, learning from our mistake which build our knowledge and that lead us to success. An evaluation look at original objective for evaluating what was accomplished and how it was accomplished. Now I like to call Pallav for further presentation.
Thank you, Resa. So to sum up, next slide. So to sum up, a reflection allows us to analyze our experiences, make changes based on our mistakes, keep doing what is successful, and build upon our knowledge. Whereas an evaluation looks at original objectives, at what was accomplished and how it was accomplished. They both have unique features, but share equal importance for effective and successful project. Next slide. Here are the references. Next slide. And yeah, that's the end of our presentation. Thank you.
You better do what the dude over says. Anyway, Ramre Talib Porgialse. Not bad, not bad. All right. Okay, well done, Pallav and team. Pallav, Isha, and Resha. Nice one.
Thank you, sir.
Now, without any delay, let's move on to the next team. Naina, are you guys ready? Hey, yes or no?
Yes, sir.
Who's going to share the slides?
Sangeeta.
Sangeeta. Sangeeta, why isn't that? Look. Sangeeta, I have made you the presenter. You can now share the slides. By the way, where have the people disappeared? There's only 3 of us in here. All right, ready?
Yes, sir.
Okay, Naina and team, over to you.
Good morning, sir. My name is Nina Kozu, captain of Team Phoenix. We are 4 members in our team: Sangita, Maldika, Monica, and me. But due to some personal reason, Monica could not attend the session today. So, without further delay, let's jump toward the topic. And our topic is the cycle of reflection, and we are going to discuss about the topics. Here are the table of content. So the introduction shall be discussed by Sangita, and we will go further on like that.
So starting with the introduction, what actually reflection is, as told by Paul. Reflection is about standing back, repeating the event that you've been through, calculating what went right and what didn't, making sense of every step, understanding the process that you've been through, dealing with honesty, making judgment, and by the end, taking an action which help in the future. So reflection is the conscious examination of past experience, thoughts, and way of doing things. Reflection is key to learning from and extracting value and meaning from experience. It is an activity in which people recapture experience and evaluate it. Now, things involved in reflection. There are three things involved in reaction. First one is returning to experience. Second one is connecting with feeling, and third one is evaluating experience. Here, in returning to experience, you try to recall the things that happened in the past, the situation that you have been through, and in connecting with feelings, you deal with the feeling that you thought that would happen during the event, and that actually happened, and you also try to evaluate others feeling in during this process. And third one is evaluating experience. Here you actually evaluate what went right and what didn't, and come to a better conclusion. And for further, I like to call Nena.
Thank you, Sangita. Let's discuss about what is reflection in action. Reflection. This type of reflection is tied to the context in which event occurs. It tells us about being present. This type of reflection takes place when we are actually involved in the situation, or we take part in interaction. Reflect. It relies upon the developed knowledge base. Reflection in action involves analysis of observation, listening, and feeling to solve the problem. It sounds more like clinical reasoning, where reflection reflection differs is that the problem solving leads to change in practitioners' view of self, values, and belief. It is like thinking on your feet, but the focus is on gaining new perspective rather than just solving the problem. And as it happens on the spot, this type of reflection is intuitive, but thus it's easy to develop skills, as well as confidence level is built up, and judgment becomes professional as individual acts immediately. So developed skills and analytical skills can be found. Next slide. And the next one is reflection on action. This type of reflection is at a distance from the actual event that required reflection. It means it involves stepping back from the situation. It can be generalized and it is possible to express the reflection as it happens first, and after sometimes we think about the problem solving techniques. The situation takes place at first, and after some times in time of instance, the reflection takes place. It can be generalized, and it is possible to express the reflection. Reflection on action also involves description, analysis, and evaluation of occurred events and the decisions that are made. Hence, we reconsider the situation and think about what needs to be done and what is needed to be changed in the future. It involves the description, analysis, and decision made, etc. Now, I would like to call Malika for further description.
Now moving to the model of reflection. Here I'll be explaining about two different types of models, starting with the Cns Reflective Model. The model is mainly based on the concept of reflection in action and reflection on action, as explained by my friend. Reflection in action refers to the quick thinking and reaction that occurs as you are engaged in activities. You act straight away to the matter. Giving an example here while preparing for presentation, I got confused and I immediately sent text to Mr. Soros sir. At that time I quickly act to the problem. And reflection on action is what occurs when you consider the activities again. In this case, you might think deeply to the situation and the step that you took, leaving another behind. When I reflect the above example, after some hour, I thought I should have talked with my team leader rather than texting teacher, because by then I thought team leader was made for this reason. And here is the difference between reflection in action and reflection on action, where in reflection in action you quickly act to the situation and give immediate action, and on reflection on action you reconsider the situation and change the step that might help you in the future. Coming to next cycle, it's grip cycle, and this cycle has 6 different steps starting from description and inside the action. The first one is description. This actually tells the story or the things that happened during the time. Some of the question like where this happened, why were you there, who else was there, what did you do, and what others do are the question that might help you to collect the description. And second one is feeling. Here you activate your feeling process, helps to understand what you felt before, during, and after the situation. It's very important to be honest at this step. The question like what do you feel before this situation took place, and while this situation took place, and what do you think other people felt during the situation, are some of the questions that will help for feeling. And third one is evaluation. Here we start looking at the situation objectively, understand what worked and what didn't, what was positive about the situation, what was negative, what went well and what didn't, are some of the questions that gives you the evaluation. And step 4 is analysis. Analysis being the most important step at this model. You understand why the experience was positive and negative. We try to understand what did well and what didn't. And step 5 is conclusion. By the end we draw conclusion on what happened. Summarize the learning and highlights what changes could improve the outcome. And step 6 is action. By the end, some possible action that you can take to deal with the similar situation more effectively in the future. Coming to the top tips for reflective practice here. First one is invest the time. You should You should start the reflective practice as a time investment rather than time drain. Building a regular time to reflect into your schedule will help you to plan your time effectively and reflect on both small and big matter. Remember that you don't have to reflect only on a big things. We all have hundreds of experience a day, and each of them is worthy of reflection. Choose your own path. You can choose your own method of reflection. If particular method is not working, then don't be afraid to try a new one. And it's all about balance. Reflecting on both positive and negative experience is important to get a complete picture. And furthermore, I would like to call Maldika.
Thank you, Sangeeta. Without any delay, I would just like to continue onto my presentation parts. We've learned earlier about what reflection is its distinct model, and how in our lives we can practice it. So I'm here to tell you something about the importance of reflection, since you guys can see the slide on the screen already. Reflection is not just about goals, destination, or progression. It is about making sense of things in our lives. It helps us to fill the holes on the map with interactions that matter, our emotional and psychological state, new perspectives, impulses that are sparked by a random meeting, daily periods of pause to contemplate the events of our day, week, or month. Next one is moments of reflection are like consulting a map. Instead of only trying to do things as you have already done them, reflecting lets you improve your skills, check their efficacy. It's about challenging what you do and why you do it in a constructive way, and then determining if there's a different or more productive approach to do it in the upcoming days. It helps to solve problems and meet challenges effectively. When people face a problem, reflective thinking allows them to become more conscious of their circumstances, to select suitable methods to explore the problem, and to find opportunities to develop the skills they need to solve the problem. And next slide. And in conclusion, reflection is a way to enhance your understanding both as a personal perspective and in relation to your job and life. While following this strategy of reflection will take time, it will eventually save you time and energy. And these are the references of our presentation. Yeah, that takes me to the end of the presentation. Thank you.
Okay, well done, both the teams. Really good, informative presentations. And as usual, before we move on to the next segment, let me send this link. Click on it. Rate the two teams. Don't rate them same. And submit. 5 seconds maximum. That's all you need. Finish it. Okay, Tuesday got teams, if you are listening, I hope it made a lot of sense to, especially to you people, of what the two teams explained today. Amanko team or Ronishko team. So basically, let's do a quick recap of the entire your second round of presentations, either. So what we did was we started with I'm talking about second round from the beginning. So we started with what project management is, what are the different stages, why project management is important, and all that. Then we moved on to the different stages. What is project management? Quickly say our teams or these are the different stages. Then we moved on to the different stages, but in detail. So we started with the initiation project planning. First stage, we looked at it in detail. Right? We looked at the implementation part. Right? Data collection or why data. The data that we collect, why the research that we do has to be reliable, why the data has to be valid, त्यसपछि कसरी त्यसलाई एक्जिक्युट गर्ने हैन, फिल्ड वर्कमा के गर्नुपर्छ, कसरी गर्नुपर्छ, डेटा मात्रै कलेक्ट गरेर हुँदैन, we need to analyze those information, है. Then we moved on to analyze मात्रै गरेर पनि हुँदैन, analyze गरेपछि त्यो information pass on त गर्नु पर्यो नि त, आफूले मात्रै राखेर त भएन, those information we need to pass it on to the audience. And this is where we looked at the communication. How do you communicate? How do you pass on this information? Pass on matra गरेर हुँदैन, how do you convincingly put those arguments in front of the people, in front of the audience? त्यसमा चाहिँ we looked at all those objectivity analysis हैन, objectivity analysis, convincing arguments, evaluation के गर्ने कसरी गर्ने भनेर चाहिँ लास्ट विक सम्म हामीले त्योहरु हेर्यौ है. So we have to be open-minded, हैन, अनि के भन्छ biasness हुनु हुँदैन. अनि we also looked at critical analysis हरु हेर्यौ. Some of you mentioned about critique भनेको के हो. So now we know what critique is. Critique भनेको त खतम त झुट भनेर भन्ने critique होइन है, it is more than that, हैन. So we looked at what critical analysis was. Critique कसरी गर्नुपर्छ. I think two teams spoke about critical analysis and critique. Critique कसरी गर्ने, different stages of doing a critique. So finally, आज चाहिँ हामीले चाहिँ reflection को हेर्यौ. Both the teams were focused on reflection. One team performed on reflection for learning and practice. हाम्रो learning गर्दाखेरि, हाम्रो practice गर्दाखेरि चाहिँ reflection के हो, कसो हो, and why it is important भन्ने कुराहरू हेर्यो. And the other team performed on reflection ko cycle using the two models. That's very good, well done. Hey. So this was a quick recap of everything. And still only 13 response. Come on, people. There are 40 of you here. La, audience ma ta ma एक्लै भएछु त. म आफै बोल्दैछु, आफैले सुन्दैछु फेरि. Come on, people, turn on your videos. अनि there are 46, 49, including me. There are 49 people in this room. 49 people in this room and only 13 response. That is ridiculous. Come on, people. Before I move on to the feedback session, let's have all of you fill in those forms. Click on that link. Rate. Team 1 rate garo, team 2 rate garo. Submit button. Easy. 3 seconds, 5 seconds maximum. That's all you need. तिम्रो साथीहरुले यत्रो हप्ता यत्रो दिन मेहनत गरेर प्रेजेन्टेसन गरेको छ, यत्रो इन्फर्मेसन कलेक्ट गरेर है. मैले दिएको एकदमै गाह्रो इन्स्ट्रक्सनलाई कन्भर्ट गरेर बुझेर सोधेर दुनिया गरेर रिसर्च गरेर कम्पाइल गरेर यहाँ आएर तिमीलाई तिमीहरूको अगाडि प्रेजेन्टेसन दिएको छ है that takes a lot of effort. Most of you realize it because you have already done the presentations, so you know what goes on behind the scene to come here and perform. है यहाँ आएर 10 मिनट बोल्नु is not a big thing, but to put in that effort 10 days 20 days before the presentation, that is the main thing. So come on, be nice to your teammates and your classmates. Be nice to your classmates. Respect. Show them some respect. And turn on the videos as well. Come on. So is in a car, especially the ones who perform today. Turn on the videos. Then we'll move on to the feedback. Nena and team. Nena ko team mates haru khoi. Maldika, where are you? I can't see you. Presentation diyo, pasai presentation diyo, ke diyo, kaso diyo. Ka herer diyo, ka herer diena thai bhaina. Same with the Resha as well. Yeah. Oh, you get a video on Norego Maldiga? That's so. Le. Lozon पर्ने के छ भने केटाहरुले मलाई हेरेर चाहिँ अनि हुन्छ भनेर हेर्छ नि मलाई चाहिँ सबले हेर्छ भनेर हेरोस् न त के भयो त नि मलाई त केटीहरुले हेर्छ नि हेरोस् नि अब राम्रो मान्छेले हेर्दैन त हैन हैन त पल्लव
हो सर
ए हो सर हो होला हैन किन लजाउने हेरोस् न त फ्यान होस् न दुई चार जना हाम्रो पनि के छ ल एनीवेज ल कम अन पिपल दुई जना मात्रै भयो पल्लवसँग डाइरेक्ट यो त 1-to-1 कन्भर्सेसन गरे जस्तो भयो देयर आर 42 पिपल इन हियर कम अन आज खाली मलाई मेसेज पठाइरहन्छ तर भिडियो चाहिँ ए क्या नाम लियो ठ्याक्कै अन गर्दै भिडियो पनि he keeps sending me message and he does not turn on the video. Okay, good to see you Adat. I will try to remember your face. जहिले मेसेज पठाइरहन्छ सर लिङ्कै छैन भनेर एनीवेज ल खोइ अरू कहाँ हरायो नेना मालदिका अनि को थियो उनीहरुको टिममा रेशा ईशा टर्न भिडियो कुशल कमन महेश तिमीहरु जहिले पनि रेगुलर भिडियो अन गरेर बस्ने मान्छेहरु किन आज लुकिरा प्रोजेक्ट्स नामहरु त याद छ नि मलाई तिमीहरुको भिडियो अन गर्नेहरुको समुद्र किन लुकेर बसिरहेछ कुशलले त अन गरिहाल्छ अर्को सुशील खोइ त तिमल सिन्हा चाहिँ Okay, let's move on to the Q&A session either. So does anyone have any questions? I'm sure some of you have some questions to this team. छ कि छैन छैन भने then म सोध्छु है क्वेशन छैन from the audience, no questions from the audience. म सोध्छु भन्ने चाहिँ भिडियो ड्याङ 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 अन भयो क्या because you know the pattern है you know that I will not call you out. Yeah. ल ओके सो म क्वेशन सोध्छु है कसलाई सोधौं भन्दाखेरि I am छ कि छैन
छैन सर केही छैन
अजय ओके ल अजय हो कि कोले बोलेको anyone tell me about metacognition भनेको के हो कोले बुझ्यो metacognition को बारेमा anyone
मैले त बुझिन
सोध नि त नि त्यसो भए बुझेन भने अहिले क्वेशन आन्सरमा सोध्नु पर्दैन त टिमलाई मैले मेटाकग्निसन भनेको बुझिन भनेर बुझाइदियो भनेर भन न सोध त ल Mohesh, that was for you, by the way.
Yes, sir.
Sodana.
नेट स्लो छ सर यता लास्ट स्लो चाहिँ केही सुनिरहेको छैन
असाइनमेन्ट को रिजल्ट पनि स्लो आयो भने चाहिँ डोन्ट ब्लेम मी ल कलेजलाई भन्ने मलाई डाइरेक्ट मेसेज पठाउने हैन सर मेरो असाइनमेन्टको मार्क्स के आयो कसो आयो भनेर कलेजलाई सोध्ने फिस दिँदाखेरि त क्या छिटो मार्क्स नि कलेजले हैन स्लोली दिँदै गर भन्छ कलेजले भन्दैन नि के हो महेश
सर नेटवर्क स्लो छ केही सुनिरहेको छैन
कलेजले पैसा माग्दाखेरि तिमीलाई स्लोली दिँदै गर रिल्याक्समा बिस्तारै भोलि पर्सि दिँदै गर भन्छ कि यो दिन भित्रमा आएर छिटो त तुरुन्त पैसा बुझाइहाल भन्छ ल मेटाकग्निसन को बारेमा कसले बुझेको छ एनीवन फ्रम द ऑडियंस हु फिगर्ड आउट व्हाट मेटाकग्निसन इज एनीवन फ्रम द ऑडियंस एनीवन नो वन ल पल्लव तिमीले नै बुझाइदेऊ नि त त्यसो भए एकचोटी मेटाकग्निसन को बारेमा फेरि भनिदेऊ नि त और एनीवन फ्रम योर टिम
मेटाकग्निसन भनेको चाहिँ त्यही थिंकिङ अबाउट थिंकिङ हो भन्नाले अब त्यो अगाडि सोचिसकेको कुरा अनि फेरि रिथिंक गर्ने त्यसमै रिफ्लेक्सन गर्ने के सोचेको कुरालाई
सो तिमीले के भन्छ प्रोफेसनल प्र्याक्टिसको असाइनमेन्ट गर्यो
मैले भन्नु
तिमीले अथवा तिमीहरूले
गरे सर
के गर्नु पर्यो थियो पीबी को असाइनमेन्टमा
त्यो क्रिटिकल इभ्यालुएसन अनि त्यस्तै के हुन्थ्यो
इभेन्ट गर्नु भनेर भन्दै थियो होला हैन र पीपी मा
हजुर इभेन्ट
2 डे इभेन्ट ट्रेनिङ इभेन्ट
हजुर सर
साच्चै के गर्यो र तिमीहरूले गरेनौ नि
गरेन
दिमागमा गर्यौ नि
यस सर
अनि त्यो दिमागमा गर्नुलाई पनि तिमीले प्लानिङ गरेर पुरा त्यो टाइम स्केड्युल बनाएर कुनी के गरेर क्रिटिकल गरेर कति न टिममा काम गरेको जस्तै हामीले टिममा यसरी काम गर्यौं उसरी काम गर्यौं भनेर असाइनमेन्ट सबमिट गर्यौ नि हैन
यस सर
भनेपछि त्यो थिंकिङमै पनि तिमीले चाहिँ थिंकिङ युज गरेर सो यु प्लान्ड अन इट यु इम्प्लिमेन्टेड or यु एक्जिक्युटेड द प्लानिङ्स अनि टिममा काम गरेको थियौं भनेर त्यसलाई फेरि क्रिटिकल एनालाइसिस गरेर हाम्रो टिममा यसरी मिलेर काम गरेको थियौं यो भएन त्यो भएन यसरी भयो उसरी भयो अथवा तिमीले थिंकिङमै पनि हामीले यसरी कम्युनिकेसन स्किल युज गर्यौं और प्रब्लम्सहरु यो भयो त्यसलाई हामीले यसरी सल्भ गर्यौं भनेर गरेको थियो होला नि असाइनमेन्ट हैन त्यही त हो नि पीपी को असाइनमेन्ट हैन
यस सर
So do you think that assignment for PP would be an example, a good example of your metacognition को जुन तिमीले एक्सप्लेन गरेको थियौ?
Yes sir. त्यस्तै हुन्छ सर.
है so I hope that makes sense to all of you है why you were asked to do that assignment for professional practice first semester मा because to build up this metacognition को है so I hope that makes sense to all of you. यतिकै तिमीले हावामा असाइनमेन्ट गर भनेको चाहिँ होइन त्यो फर्स्ट सेमेस्टरमा अनि अर्को कुरा चाहिँ कस्तो भन्दाखेरि चाहिँ अनि तिमीले नि आफैले एक्सप्लेन गरे नि त व्हाई इट इज इम्पोर्टेन्ट हैन रिफ्लेक्सन किन इम्पोर्टेन्ट रहेछ यो रहेछ त्यो रहेछ भनेर सो द्याट प्रोबब्ली आन्सर्स द क्वेसन इज वेल है हावामा साच्चीकै रियल लाइफ इभेन्ट गर्न पाएको भए पो मजा आउँथ्यो त त्यतिकै जोत्मा चाहिँ के भन्छ 2 दिनको इभेन्ट गर्न लगायो भनेर रिसाए पनि होला कतिजनाहरू एन्ड द्याट्स फाइन द्याट्स कम्प्लिटली फाइन फर यु टु गेट नट ह्याप्पी ह्याभिङ टु डु एन event only in your head हैन but this was the practice के यही हो मेटाकग्निसन को प्र्याक्टिस गराउनलाई नै तिमीलाई त्यो गरेको and we use मेटाकग्निसन each and every day हामी जहिले पनि गरिरा हुन्छौं दिमागमै सोचिरा हुन्छ नि हामीले म यस्तो गर्छु उस्तो गर्छु भनेर प्लानको पनि प्लान बनाइरा हुन्छ नि है and we it happens all the time so त्यसको पनि एउटा प्रोसेस छ त्यो पनि राम्ररी गर्यो भने चाहिँ you know it is very helpful अनि अर्को चाहिँ this question goes to both the teams either so whoever wants to answer it's fine so you guys talked about reflection today हैन अनि ठिकै छ by the way त्यो रिफ्लेक्सन अन एक्सन र रिफ्लेक्सन इन एक्सन चाहिँ खास एक्चुअली सेकेन्ड टिमको थियो, तर फर्स्ट टिमले पनि एक्सप्लेन गरिहाल्यो, एन्ड द्याट्स गुड, वेल डन।